name's Scotty Babb, and I am a traumatic brain injury recovery coach. And I am here today to talk to you about the not so happy subject of divorce. So, unfortunately, one of the byproducts of TBI is there's a pretty high divorce rate among survivors. Uh, Reasons for that include bad judgment. When we get traumatic brain injury, we tend to have very poor judgment. So that's a problem. Disinhibition, which I have talked about before and I will talk about many times because it affects so many parts of your life. And also the need to go to therapy, whether it be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Any of those things, the knowledge of those things can really help. Okay, so if you know your judgment is poor, if you're aware of it, then you can be more careful about what you do and what you say and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to really get a good understanding about that. Also with disinhibition, a lot of disinhibition can be taken care of just with education, just understanding what it is and how it's affecting your life. Disinhibition is the lack of the ability to control all emotions. So all of your emotions are completely out of control after TBI. So you got to start consciously learning how to control those again. And I don't know about easier, but it does become more automatic after a while. And then also you learn ways, you learn adaptations to control them. Also the therapy, I don't know how aware you are of how therapy works. Psychologists are all about talk therapy, which is really good. And then psychiatrists are more about medications. And that can also be really, really good. Whatever your ideas are or your feelings are about taking pills and stuff, I can tell you that every TBI is different than the other one. So some people taking a pill a day is going to really make a difference in their life. Some people it's not. So with everything that helps you in recovery or helps people generally in TBI recovery, you gotta kind of take a shot. You gotta try it out. And if it works for you, it works for you. That's great. But if it doesn't, hey, you tried. Now try something different. So don't sweat it too much. Just understand that these things are there available for you. And so again, going forward, if you realize that you have the chance to have really poor judgment, then you need to gather your core support team. And anytime you're going to make any kind of big decisions, even smaller ones, bounce it off of them. Say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a boat. They say, but you can't swim. Then that could be a problem. So talk to people that you trust and see what they think about your next idea. Okay. Disinhibition, again, the inability to regulate your emotions. So the most important thing about this is that you understand it and that your closest person understands it, whether it be your spouse, your friends, whatever, family. Whoever's closest to you is going to pay the biggest price if you don't get this under control. So one example that I use a lot, one of my symptoms after my TBI was the fact that my hand, when I'm holding a glass of some kind of drink, if I don't concentrate on putting the pressure on the glass, my hand will relax and I'll drop it. And as we all know, that makes a big mess, breaks the glass. Now there's glass all over the floor. There's maybe orange juice all over the floor. So if I get up in the morning and I'm having a great day, and I feel good, you know, so because we all have good days and bad days, so I feel good. I go in the kitchen, I'm fixing me some breakfast. I'm pouring myself a nice cold glass of orange juice. The dog barks. Blame it on the dog, right? The dog barks. I look over there and I drop the glass again, you know, for the umpteenth time. And now the glass is on the floor, shattered. There's orange juice everywhere. And my emotions go from 0 to 100 in a nanosecond. And I am pissed. And I'm pissed at TBI. I'm pissed at myself. I'm pissed at the world, right? Because I can't believe I dropped that glass again. And now I've got this mess to clean up, and I'm frustrated about the whole thing. I'm hungry. I wanted to eat this breakfast, you know. So just as I start to clean it up, my beautiful, wonderful wife comes around the corner, sees what's happening, and she doesn't mean a thing by it. She just says, "What the hell happened?" Right? Well, I am probably going to look up and say, "I'll tell you what the hell happened," and really, you know, lash out at that point. So that's a big problem, right? Then you can't do that with your spouse. That's ridiculous. And then, by the way, after she walks away, possibly sobbing, I'm going to go now into a guilt spiral because I yelled at my wife. So it's a really horrible symptom, and it's insidious, is what it is. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, I bought stemware. Don't have to squeeze it. You just put it between your fingers and you're good to go. But let's say I broke the glass anyway. She comes around the corner and she remembers this guy's got disinhibition. He's probably really beating himself up right now because he broke that glass. So here's what I'm going to say. "Hey, hon, let me help you with that." Now that's going to make such a difference. So at that point, that's going to give me an opportunity to opt out of the whole situation. And I'm not trying to get out of cleaning the mess. Don't get me wrong, but it gives me a chance to say thank you so much. You know what? I'm just going to go in the other room for a minute. And she'll say, "Yeah, no problem." And I'll go in the other room. She might start picking up the glass or something. Maybe I'll take some deep breaths in the other room and think, okay, it's not that big a deal. It's a $2 glass, whatever. So glad that nothing happened there. I didn't yell at Lori. Nothing happened. Okay, let's calm down. Let's bring it all back down to normal. And then I'll walk back in there and I'll say, "Okay, hon, I got it." And she'll, whatever, you know, quit doing whatever she's doing, and she'll go back to her deal, and I'll clean up the mess. And hurt feelings are avoided just by one little change of a sentence. And, you know, obviously you don't want to say, "Hey, you better be nice to me or else, you know, I'll yell at you." That's not really the point here. That the point is just because the person's got an injured brain, you have to kind of talk to them differently. And it's just like if I had cut my leg off and I would say, "Hey, help me up so I can put my artificial leg on," or whatever. Uh, that's something that, you know, she would do, and it would be different than what she used to do. So it's the same thing with TBI. You might say things a little differently, and avoid a big beef. And then at the same time, you know, the TBI survivor has that responsibility to try to calm down. And one nice thing about my TBI recovery program that I do give you some tools there to really help you with that, and to kind of head things off at the pass. So just a little plug there. Therapy is hugely important for so many reasons. Unfortunately, not only is the divorce rate high, but the suicide rate is high. And believe me, I guarantee you that's tied to the divorce rate. So uh, if you're only, if you're 0 days to 5 years out from your TBI, it's probably a really good idea for you to be in therapy, talk therapy, probably twice a month, maybe once a week. I would suggest once a week, to be honest. But and then the psychiatrist therapy, because they really don't do talk therapy. It seems like they just are mainly into prescribing you medicine. So you only have to see them whenever you need a refill or whatever. So, but but the talk therapy can be very, very good for you. I certainly, you know, I never went to therapy before I got my TBI, but I went for probably 5 or 6 years after my TBI, and I don't think I would have gone. I wouldn't have thought about it if my TBI rehabilitation center that I went to didn't have a therapist there and required us to see that therapist once a week. And I just noticed how much it was helping me, and so yeah, I kept doing it after I left the TBI rehab. So there are certainly several things that happen to a couple uh, after post TBI. Um, One of the big things is there is a power um, shift, I guess, because if you were the one earning money, or if you were the one taking care of the kids, and now you can't do that, and they have to pick up the slack, that dynamic changes, you know, and it's going to test your marriage or whatever you got going. I don't care, but you know, it's going to test that, and you're both going to have to recognize it. You don't have to necessarily even talk about it, but you have to recognize it and understand uh, your kind of new dynamic in the relationship, and that's something you can definitely talk to with your therapist about, and your therapist might be able to help you understand it more. Certainly explain it better than I do. Anyway, yeah, so talk to them, and make sure you take care of your spouse or your significant other. Make sure that you tell them you love them, and just how much you appreciate all they're doing for you. And you know, don't be afraid to talk with them, and tell them how you're feeling, and talk about that disinhibition. That disinhibition is insidious stuff, man. Uh, it's terrible. So talk with your spouse about that. Take your spouse or your significant other or whatever. I'm gonna have to learn a new title, some more generic. Uh, but talk to them, and take them with you to the therapy, or take them with you to the doctor, and let them hear it from the horse's mouth, from the professional's mouth, and that way they'll really get a better understanding of what you're going through and what you need, and what needs to be done moving forward in the relationship and in your recovery. So, hey, listen, again, I'm Scotty Babb. I'm a TBI recovery coach. I'm also a 9.5 year survivor. I want you to, if during this uh, epidemic we've got, our pandemic, it's very stressful. If you're feeling extra stress and things like that, you can always call me. My number is 775-513-4474. Call me 24/7. Don't care, whatever. Um, you can text me, or you can email me, and you'll find the email in the post with this video. So I also offer the 1 hour free consultation. So if you'd like to learn more about my coaching program, we can do it there. And or if you just like to talk for an hour, that's fine too. Let's get together and try to get through this thing. Okay. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you again today, and I hope you all have a great day. Be careful and take care of you and your significant others. Bye bye.